Hey friends, it is I Believe time, and this is the time of the week that we get together and we talk about God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. We talk about life and what really matters. And if you were watching on Facebook a few minutes ago, you'll see that I went live, read the book like I have done every week for a few weeks now, but everything was sideways. So proof that I have no clue what I'm doing. But when life goes sideways, and it does a lot, right? We just have to get back up and try it again. And I really wanted to share this story with you and with your family because this is one of my favorite stories. And I did not want to miss out on this. So friends, this is The Friend Who Forgives, a true story about how Peter failed and Jesus forgave. We want to say a huge thank you to the Good Book Company, to Mr. Dan and Miss Catalina. Thank you for giving us permission to read this book together during this time. Friends, this is one of the books from the Tales That Tell the Truth series. So you will want to check into these. These are great for your library. So The Friend Who Forgives, a true story about how Peter failed and Jesus forgave. A long time ago, there was a man named Peter who was best friends with Jesus. Peter was a fisherman. He was strong and brave, but he often said the wrong thing. Do you ever talk before you think? That's what Peter did again and again and again. Peter loved fish. In fact, one day he and Jesus had fish for breakfast. Fish for breakfast. That's weird. But we will save that part of the story until the end. On the day when Jesus first called Peter to follow him, can you guess what Peter was doing? That's right, Peter was fishing. Follow me and I will make you a fisher of men, Jesus told him. Can you imagine that? Peter fishing for men? Jesus explained that just as Peter liked to search for fish, Jesus had come to search for people who needed forgiveness. Peter loved being friends with Jesus. He saw Jesus do lots of amazing things. One time, Peter's mother-in-law was sick and Jesus healed her. Another time, Peter was about to drown in a storm, but Jesus saved him. Slowly, Peter realized that Jesus was more than a friend. He was God. He would never let Peter down. But sometimes Peter let Jesus down. Like the time Jesus explained to his friends that he had to die on the cross, but that he would come back to life to offer forgiveness. All of you will run away. You're going to say you're not my friends, Jesus said. Peter spoke up right away. He did that a lot. I will never do that, Peter said. But Jesus told him, before the rooster crows in the morning, you will say 3 times that you're not my friend. I would never do that. Jesus is my best friend, Peter thought. When soldiers came to take Jesus to the cross, Peter pulled out his sword to stop them. Put your sword away, Peter, Jesus said. My Father says this must happen. Jesus let the soldiers take him to a courtyard to stand trial. Peter followed from far away. Aren't you one of Jesus' disciples? A young girl asked as she opened a gate for Peter to enter the courtyard. What do you think? Peter said. No, I don't know Jesus. It was a cold night, so Peter walked over to a fire where some people were warming themselves. Aren't you one of Jesus' friends? Someone asked Peter. What do you think? Peter said. No, I don't know Jesus. Then someone else stepped forward and looked closely at Peter. Yes, you're one of Jesus' friends, aren't you? He said. What do you think Peter said? No, I don't know Jesus. Oh, right then at that very moment, a rooster crowed. Jesus turned around and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered that Jesus had said, before the rooster crows, you will say 3 times that you aren't my friend. Peter was so sad. He knew he had failed Jesus again and again and again. He didn't just need to find other people who needed forgiving. He needed forgiving too. Peter felt terrible. He ran out of the courtyard and he cried and he cried and he cried. Peter had let his best friend down, and now it was too late because the soldiers had taken Jesus away to be killed. But Peter didn't stay sad because Jesus didn't stay dead. I'm going to say that again because that's important. Peter didn't stay sad because Jesus didn't stay dead. 3 days later was the first Easter Sunday when Jesus came back to life to offer people forgiveness. But would he forgive Peter for failing so badly? One day, Jesus went looking for Peter. Where do you think Jesus found him? That's right. Peter and his friends were fishing. Jesus called to them from the beach. Peter jumped out of the boat onto the water and rushed to the beach to see Jesus. And this is where Jesus and Peter had fish for breakfast. Fish for breakfast. Oh, that's weird. Peter was so happy to see Jesus alive. But would Jesus forgive him? Peter wasn't sure. Maybe Jesus wouldn't want to talk to him anymore. Maybe Jesus wouldn't want to be friends with him. But yes, Jesus did want to talk to Peter. And yes, Jesus did want to forgive Peter. Wow. And since Peter had said he didn't know Jesus 3 times, Jesus gave Peter the chance to say 3 times, I love you, Jesus. That's how Peter became a forgiven fisher of men. Peter spent the rest of his life telling people about his very best friend, Jesus. He told them that if they would put their trust in Jesus, he would forgive them again and again and again. That's because Jesus was Peter's friend. He forgave him again and again and again. And if you trust in Jesus, he will forgive you too, again and again and again. Do you see why this is one of my favorite stories? Yeah. So, I wanted to tell you, and you probably already know this, but did you know that half of the entire world is on the internet? Half of the entire world. That's a lot of people, right? Yeah. So, that was my cat. If you're watching this right now and you are on the internet right now, you and your grown-ups have access to half of the world, half of the whole world. That's pretty cool, isn't it? We can go tell people about Jesus too. So you can talk to your grown-ups and maybe you guys can decide how is your family going to tell other people about Jesus, because that's why we're here. We're here to tell people about Jesus. Now don't forget that this month our memory verse is 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-control. That's awesome, isn't it? So I love you. I'm so proud of you. I know you are staying healthy at home and you are doing great in your schoolwork. Don't forget that we have a friend who forgives. That's pretty cool, right? So go tell somebody else. Bye, guys.